Hey, what's up? I'm Michael. Today we are going to be making a Halloween card. You can do this as a gift if you want, or something to a friend or whatever. So let me get started. We're going to make some paper like this. This is Strathmore 100 series paint pad. It is actually watercolored paper. It is textured watercolor paper, and it's about $3 for one of these pads. Usually you can find them in the kids paint and craft section at Walmart. It's actually, to me, it's pretty good paper. I've not found many problems with it. So first off, we have to cut it down to size. If you are having trouble getting it out of the pad of paper, if you're a kid, then have your parents do it. But if you're an adult, all you have to do is take an X-Acto knife, bend over the sheet, and then just lightly run down the edge where the glue was at, and it should help it to release. So, the first thing we're going to do, and you can do this however you like, but you need to get the paper folded in half. So, or you need to find the halfway point on it, I'll say. You can do that by holding one edge against something and folding it over. But I am simply going to use a ruler to tell me where my center point is. And this is a zero centering ruler. So what we're going to do is, let me find a pencil up here. I'm going to put this edge down here, and so I'm at 6 on both of them now, and it looks like that's right. So if I flip this over, it should be at the same exact point to where it's about 6 on either side. Alright, now all I have to do is take my little paper trimmer here. You can use scissors or a guillotine. If you're a child, get your parents' help with this. And I'm just going to line it up. And there we go. Now, I am going to round the corners on this. I have a new corner rounder, and I want them to be the 1/4 inch. Let's see here. I can just take both of them at one time if I want. This should work fine. If you're using a corner rounder that's not a heavy duty one, you probably want to do one sheet at a time, and make sure that they are perfectly even if you're doing it 2 at a time like I am. I'm not used to this punch that I am using. I just got it today. I have a tendency to leave, if I do my corners and I do art on them, I leave the corners, and this way you don't stab yourself with the corner. So now, this paper has a smooth side and a textured side, and I am going to be using the smoother side for this. So I'm going to use this back side, and what we're going to do, let's see here. Let me pull that off to the side. We are going to create a piece of art that has a pumpkin on it. So I'm going to show you in the next part of this video. I'm going to time-lapse it, and I'll talk over it, but I'm going to show you how to draw a pumpkin and how to lay out some letters that say Happy Halloween. So I'll get to that in just a moment. To start this off, I am going to lay down some curves with my bendable curve, and I'm just going to use these for a guide for my lettering later. Now, I said I was going to do a jack-o'-lantern, but I am just going to do a pumpkin. If you want to do a jack-o'-lantern, when you go to lay it out like I am here, all you have to do is put in the face or whatever design you want. Go on and outline that, and then do not color into that space at this time. You will be going back later, and you can put in colors in there, and then to darken it up, you just take your black pencil and just very lightly go over it. Now, right around the top edge, I like to put a little bit darker of a line, but besides that, I usually just very lightly put down the black. At this point, I am laying in, this is a Spanish yellow, and then I'm coming back at this point with goldenrod, and this is to go on and add a little bit of shading to it, just to give me an idea of where it might go. And then I come back with sunburst yellow here, and I am simply just layering this up. This is something that you can do without having to do any watercolor pencil at all if you want to. That's why I didn't actually go in and put it in, or put the watercolor pencil under this or anything. So at this point, I'm going back for another layer, and then I finally start with the actual orange, and then I go back with a brown, and I believe I go back with a little bit of black also in that orange at the back, and I try to darken it up because it's away from the light. And as you can see here, I'm just laying down another layer. Now, if you want to, you can use, at this point, you could use, it is odorless paint thinner of some sort, or odorless mineral spirits, and you'd be fine with that. Now, the stem I'm doing with the Koh-I-Noor Polycolor pencils, because I like the browns that I can get with them. To me, they're a better look than the Prismacolor being just smudged down there. The Prismacolor just doesn't have the detail that I really want it with those for some reason. And at that point, I was just blending back with a little bit of white over top of everything, not pressing down hard at all, but just adding a little bit of the white, and then I go back with all of the same layers again. Another of the Spanish yellow, and then back with orange again. And I'm not really pressing that much harder at this point, and you can see that the orange really takes over at that point, though, because I've put the layers down so much. At this point, I am blending with the colorless blender, and I'm not doing it 100% flat right now at this point, and you can see that it is looking better, and there's not much of the white shining through anymore of the paper. So on the lines that's coming down the pumpkin, I actually used black, and then I go back over them with a dark brown around it to sort of buff it out and make it look more realistic. If you want to have highlights on your pumpkin, it depends on your paper if this works good or not, but you put down your white pencil over top of it, and then you go back. I should have went back with the yellow first over top of the white pencil, then put down more white, and then put down more orange over that. And I am at this point actually burnishing down everything with the colorless blender. The one bad thing about doing things without like the paint thinner is that you go through the burnishing sticks or the colorless blenders right fast and using my method. You can see I'm going back adding more white and then coming back with more orange over it. Again, the first layer I done with the white I should have done with yellow over top of it, and that actually makes it shine through as more of a highlight. And then the second layer that you do that, you put the white again, and then you put the orange over it. And that is my normal method. Now at that point, I was actually going in and darkening up with goldenrod and black and dark brown actually around the edges of it to give it more of a shaded look. And right here, I'm just laying down several browns and then putting some green in there for a ground effect. And I wanted that to be grainy looking because dirt is grainy. And this is just the little vines on the ground. And now it is time to letter. What I do to letter is I like to find the middle letter and go on and place it down. I didn't do it in Halloween, but I do it in Happy. So what I'm doing here is I'm erasing those lines, but I left them so that they're there just light enough to be able to actually see when I'm going through. So you can see here I put down the P first, and that helps me center everything up. Now I am going to lay down my watercolor pencil, and I lay down several layers, different colors. And you really want to tape down your work if you're using watercolor pencils or something. On something like this where you go all the way to the edge, you can't sometimes. So then at this point I'm just activating it. I'm using a Pentel Aquash water brush. And you just put water in the barrel of it, and then I'm coming back and I'm sort of dapping the brush onto the tip of that pencil. You cannot do that with all watercolor pencils, but with some of them you can. Some of them on the package it says do not do that with it. It can break the pencil. So here I'm putting in a pinkish purple. It was called lavender, I guess. And then I come back with some blues, and then a darker purple. And when I activate this with the water, it really makes everything pop out. And I dropped drops of water onto the paper there to give myself a little bit more to work with. And you can see that the water does not affect the wax-based pencil that I had already put down. So at this point I am simply drying it off and then trying to flatten it out. I'll put this in a book press and leave it for a day or so, and it should be perfectly fine. And there we go.